All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Simply Technical Podcast. I'm your host, one of your hosts, Evan Lockhart, and this is my co-host, Keaton Miner. He's the short one on the edge of the screen.
What's up?
And then we got Matt Peacock.
Hey.
And Mekko Factor. Two local experts on. We're going to talk about OU football. So there are two local experts, quote unquote experts.
I would say obsessive fan.
You could say that. I'm going to call them experts because they're way out of my league on this topic of OU football, mainly because college football isn't my forte. I played football, but that doesn't mean anything. So, good.
I was just gonna say I played football 4th grade. I think I really got into watching OU football. Honestly, I started sitting down probably 8th grade. I watched Adrian Peterson some. I think the first game I remember watching was the 2007 game against Colorado where they beat us on a last-second field goal. Next season was the record-setting offense with Sam Bradford, but yeah, it's pretty much an obsession for me. It really just dictates my mood for multiple months in a row, just how OU's doing. I'm sure Matt's the same way.
Yeah, I really have no reason to be super interested in it other than the fact that one of my earliest memories is sitting around watching the national championship game in 2000. Unlike Mekko, I've been a lifelong fan.
I remember that game. My dad made me go to bed. It's his fault.
Wow, if you didn't go to bed, you probably would have been grounded. So that's what happened with me.
That's why he's an OSU fan.
Yeah. So, what about recruiting this offseason? I've seen a lot of Lincoln Riley tweets with the eye emojis. So let's talk about this recruiting class.
I love the eye emoji. It gets me pretty pumped up.
Yeah, this is a historical class. We signed a 5-star quarterback named Spencer Rattler. He was the number 1 quarterback, I believe, on both Rivals and 24/7. And then they also, some of the big key components, at least on the offensive side of the ball. It's a historical feat signing 3 5-star wide receivers. And a lot of the buzz around the campus right now is that the lowest rated out of those 3 guys is going to be the one most likely to have a big impact at first, just because he runs more of a slot receiver and the other 2 guys are outside receivers. Well, we all saw how CeeDee Lamb has done the past couple of years, so he's got that spot locked down at least this next year.
No one's taking it.
But I know defense has been a big issue on that side of the ball. There's a few guys coming in. 2 guys in particular I really like. One is Jeremiah Crittendale. He's out of Mater Dei High School in California, which for those of you who don't follow recruiting, Mater Dei is one of the best high school football teams in the country. Another guy we got coming in is named Woody Washington. He's out of Tennessee, number 1 player in the state there. Both those guys are defensive backs. Woody Washington's more of a cornerback, and Jeremiah Crittendale is more of a safety. But from everything I've read and followed, expect both those guys to come in and have a pretty big impact pretty quick.
Only thing I'm worried about is with this new system, have they announced yet what kind of defense they're going to try to run? Like a 3-4, a 4-3, 3-3-5. Have they said anything about that? Because I know last year, there's so much excitement for Buki coming in, and then I feel like they didn't maximize how good he could have been. Have we heard much about what they're expecting to do with these guys?
Yeah, it's a 3-4 base. The base is pretty similar to last year. One of the main differences is the defensive linemen last year in Mike Stoops' defense were designed to basically just hold the line and let the linebackers shoot the gap to try and blitz whenever they do call a blitz. And in the Big 12, you just can't do that. The quarterbacks get the ball out of their hands in 3 seconds, and their running backs, if you run a 4-4, 20 yards downfield already. So this defense is more designed to get the defensive linemen in place. I think you see a lot of defensive linemen come out and be special this year. It's a lot more aggressive. They're really, really emphasizing turnovers. I think I read OU's had 16 turnovers in the past 3 years. It's one of the lowest in the entire country. And so I think that's going to be a huge point of emphasis because I saw a quote from the new defensive coordinator. He was saying that, what's the point of being out there? He's like, I don't want to be out there. I want to get the ball back to the offense. So if we can be out there for as little time as possible, that's how we're going to win the game.
Yeah, at this point, OU defense has to get aggressive. It has to do something. Last year, statistically, they were the worst defense in college football, like just across the board. which considering we got to, the college football playoffs, we were, just the first quarter away from making it to the national championship. Year before that, I don't have to say it, that the double overtime loss to Georgia. It's just so many wasted years due to bad defense. It's time, for the we don't even have to have a good defense. If we can go from like 130th to like 80th out of 130, we might be national champions. We got to get something going, because right now there's nothing going.
Keaton, what are you most excited for in the year?
I mean, I don't know quite as much as these guys do about OU football, but I am a pretty big fan. I'd say I'm most excited to, like you guys said, to see the new defense. There's not really, you can't get worse than we were last year, and I mean, you can only go up. So, like Mekko said, that last year and the year before were the two greatest offenses. Besides, were they better than 2008's? The 2008 statistically,
they're more efficient.
Yeah. So the two best offenses that have ever been in college football just completely wasted by a bad defense, and that sucks to watch as a fan.
So as a previous football player, the 3-4 defense, that's correct? That's what you said they were going to run. So the main job for at least the defensive tackle on that is to get double teamed. So you want your big bodies taking up as much space as possible, causing as much mayhem on that front line. So they might not get a ton of quote-unquote sacks or tackles, but you know that they're going to be putting in the work to free up those linebackers. Not necessarily hold the line for the linebackers, but, I mean, your gap assignments on a 3-4 is so important. Mm-hmm. And one of your linebackers is going to be shooting sack almost every time unless you're playing super conservative. And it sounds like from the coach's standpoint, that's not what they're going for.
No, not at all. And Alex Grinch, last time he's a defensive coordinator 2 or 3 years ago at Washington State, he made them one of the better defenses in the country. And I mean, that's half the talent that OU has.
And that was within 2 years. Like he turned it around immediately at a mediocre program. Like, I mean, I think expectations. I'm trying to temper my expectation for this season, which is hard. I always try to temper my expectations. It never works. But, I mean, Alex Grinch, he's saying all the right things. He has the team excited. It's just a different mentality. He has a cool last name. It's gonna be easy to make a bunch of memes. Shoot off a bunch of gifs during football season of him, of the Grinch. And I think, I said my expectations are tempered. I'm excited. I think the defense is gonna come out and set a tone pretty quickly. I think that looking at the schedule, which we're going to go over later, looking at the schedule, I really think that we have a good opportunity to run the table. We're not going to be challenged by too many teams, and it's all about tuning up the defense, getting the defense ready to play, important postseason game. Try to take our opportunity. I think Alex Grinch was. I didn't know who he was till we got him, but then, looking back, I think he's going to make really good use of our linebackers who are, I think, better than they get credit for.
So it sounds like his history proves that he's a good coach and that he was one of the right picks for OU, if I'm not mistaken, from what I'm getting from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think his history of taking a underperforming defense and turning into a formidable defense is a big reason why Lincoln Riley probably went after him so hard.
Okay. So now we talked about the defense. What do you expect from the offense? What kind of signings were? You said there was a quarterback?
Yeah, they had Spencer Rattler, the 5-star quarterback. They had 3 5-star offensive linemen, or 3 5-star receivers, and then offensive linemen. I mean, they just keep bringing in 300-pound monsters every single year. They just keep replacing 300 pounds with more 300 pounds.
And we don't want to bury the lead. All OU fans know that another guy we brought in from the offseason, Jalen Hurts, he's gonna come in. He's going to start. They're gonna say it's a quarterback battle all the way up until the first snap. But Jalen Hurts is gonna come in. He's a professional. He knows how to play. He knows how to prepare. I don't think he's gonna be slinging the ball downfield nearly as much as Kyler and Baker. But I think he's not gonna make mistakes. And with the line, with the proven success of our offensive line coach, with our running backs, I think he's going to have every opportunity to come in and just set the Big 12 on fire from day one. I think that there's no reason where he's not going to get Heisman looks. I think the thing that's going to stop him from getting Heisman looks is Kenneth Murray and Sermon, our running backs, are going to just be putting up crazy numbers too.
I mean, don't forget, though, he also has the best receiver core in the nation this year.
Yeah.
I think CeeDee Lamb is far and away the best receiver in the country.
He'll be a first-round draft pick for
Yeah.
sure.
The thing is crazy. He's just not respected by the national media. Like, no one talks about him. No one brings up. Like,
I don't know why he is he is like just the coolest dude. Every time he makes a catch, he's just got like so much swag. He'll just be completely chill after making just the craziest snag. I love that about him.
Odell Beckham Jr. is great. He has that same energy, that same vibe.
Yeah.
Like that. He's just like, he's cool. He's gonna go out there and just dominate. And I really do think that I think he's gonna be setting some records. He's gonna make himself a lot of money. But he also seems like the kind of dude who's gonna be teaching the other wide receivers, the young guns, how to come up in the system, how to produce, and he's gonna be setting it up, for a long time to come.
Yeah, I mean, what a better guy to have our 5-star quarterback incoming learn from. Just one of the most respected quarterbacks in all of college football. I mean, the Paul Feinbaum show, people have called in saying they hope that he wins the Heisman. These people from SEC territory cheering on an OU guy. Who would have thought that would ever happen?
Man, it's the one time it's gonna happen.
So with Jalen Hurts, I mean, he seems like that stereotypical SEC quarterback where he's not going to sling it like OU quarterbacks. You said, Mekko, that OU quarterbacks are known for slinging it, taking the deep ball threat.
Yeah,
but Jalen Hurts, I don't think fits that profile. So because at Alabama they do more running, ground,
and
then
ground and pound.
Yeah, and then they do short yardage plays for the most part. So what kind of offensive changes for the system is going to have to take place? And that's for both of you.
Yeah, I think this is where the receiving core really plays into his game because, the past few years they had D.D. Westbrook, they had Marquise Brown, guys that, they got one step on the cornerback and they're gone downfield. Whereas now you've got, these 3 5-star receivers, they're all kind of bigger guys. Trajan Bridges, he's a slot receiver inside, kind of shifty, but he's not going to burn you downfield. So I think having that and then having CeeDee Lamb, who you just throw it in his area, he's going to go get it. I think we'll see a lot more of, 15, 20-yard range passes and probably a little bit more use of the fullback this year too with a guy named Braden Willis. So it'd be kind of more reminiscent, I feel like, of Baker's first couple of years where he wasn't really slinging it, downfield to Marquise Brown or anything like that. It'll be probably a lot more ball control versus big plays.
And I just did the math. Over Jalen Hurts' 3 years at Alabama, he averaged about 17 pass attempts per game. And
does that include last year though?
Yeah,
that's
a bad stat then.
Yeah, that's just all all passes over X number of games. He hasn't had the chance. He hasn't been in a prolific system. He hasn't had the chance. I don't think he's ever just shown that he can throw the deep ball. But like I said, he doesn't make those mistakes. I think that play action is going to be deadly. I think that the offense is so athletic. I think what's going to come down to is how quickly can the new offensive line, after we lost 4 draft picks off that line, returning only one starter. I think it's how quickly can they mesh, how quickly can they give Jalen Hurts that time, because he's gonna just make any Big 12 defense pay. And I think he has the work ethic. He has the knowledge to really, if we see Alabama again in the postseason, if we see a Clemson, if we see a team like that, he's going to come in and he's going to be ready to play, just like Baker was.
Yeah, it'll be a different approach a lot, also from the run game standpoint with the quarterback. Jalen Hurts is 6'2", 220, or 6'2", 220, whereas Kyler was what? 5'10", yeah, $170 if that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess when you ask about the kind of the offense comparison, it may look a lot like Texas did last year, where you got 3rd and 2. You might as well just get your fullbacks out in front, get your running backs who are used to blocking, and just let Jalen Hurts just charge downfield.
I don't think it's gonna happen. We haven't seen this in the offense ever, but just get a little bit of option football. Read option, speed option. I don't know if we have the athletic fullback type to do a triple option.
Oh yeah, they've got guys. Braden Willis is a guy they found their last recruiting class. It was just kind of a guy who a week before signing day had a coach call him up. He played super small ball in Texas, and they watched this film. They're like, how does this guy not have offers from all across the country? He mainly played special teams last year. He played a little bit, but he's supposed to be pretty special, kind of like another Dimitri Flowers type.
Mm-hmm. OU has a history of going out and finding those fullbacks who can make those plays, and I don't know. I think the offense. Lincoln Riley's a genius. He's gonna have to get creative with all the pieces he has, but he's a $6 million man. Everybody has confidence he's gonna go out and do it. It just keeps coming back to, can the defense, hold teams under 40 points a game this season? Can the defense force more than one turnover a game? Can they stop the run? That's what the questions keep coming back to, and I'll believe it when I see it. I'm getting pumped up, but I just don't know if the defense is going to be able to do that.
Okay, so let's move on to the issues that were going on last year. I know we've touched on them a little bit, but the end of the season last year, what were your main concerns coming into this, offseason?
We're talking after
Hire Mike Stoops.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the main goal of the entire offseason.
For the last 4 years, he should have been.
So what about quarterback? At the end of the year, you expected Kyler Murray to go in the NFL, or baseball. So you expect Jalen Hurts to meet those expectations of Kyler Murray, or similar?
I think he's not going to be the same dynamic player, but I think he's going to be the same or a close, efficient type player. He's never going to be the guy who makes somebody miss and then runs 70 yards downfield untouched. But he's going to be a solid leader. Like I've said a couple times, I think that he's going to come in and do well. And yeah, I think he's going to be, basically a rental, but maybe he's
a good rental.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe another Heisman, maybe another, Davey O'Brien winner.
I think he'll be a better pure quarterback than Kyler Murray was. He doesn't have the speed, but from what I've seen, that dude is efficient and he is a great leader. Obviously, he's shown that. So I think overall, he's going to be a better quarterback than Kyler was.
He was arguably the best backup quarterback in national, or in the football.
Yeah, the guy was SEC Offensive Player of the Year 2 years ago. So,
and then he backed up. What's his Tua? Is his name?
Yeah.
And he's not your stereotypical SEC quarterback. So,
I really hope that we play Alabama again. I would love to see Tua versus Jalen.
You know the committee though is if OU's on the cusp, they're gonna put OU in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
so they can have that game.
Well, that's the benefit of OU just being a brand name in college football. If they're borderline, they carry a lot of weight with their name.
That is true.
When we saw it the first year with TCU and Baylor both getting left out for Ohio State. Granted, Ohio State went on to win it, but if you got that brand name on the side of your helmet, you're going to get a look at it any day.
And that's perk of being a blue blood, perk of being a consistently elite program since the 50s. I saw somebody posing the question a couple weeks ago. They were asking, is Clemson a blue blood team now? And it kind of just ticked me off just because they're not. This is the last 5 years have been great for Clemson, but it's their first success ever. And that's OU hasn't been as successful the last 5 years, clearly, but.
They've got 4 straight Big 12 championships. Yeah. You can't say haven't been successful.
No, they haven't.
They're spoiled.
We have Big 12. We need that national championship. That's what Clemson has on us.
Yeah,
But,
you don't become a blue blood after 5 years
No.
of success. I mean, if that was the case, people would call him Baylor a blue blood
yeah,
before all
Look at him
the
now.
stuff happened.
give it another 30 years, we'll come back and address it. But I mean, really, we talked about it earlier, but Clemson is, I mean, the only good team in the ACC this year. We talked about how we would rank the different conferences. I mean, Clemson's going to feast, they're going to they should go undefeated. They should go untouched in the ACC. They may not face a true test until December.
I believe I think they have Texas A&M at home.
Oh man,
Look it up.
Clemson's gonna make me cheer for Clemson. Then shoot,
I know, all right. Yeah, they got Texas A&M at home, second week of the season.
that'll be a good game. I hope they win by about 50. Georgia Tech, I remember Georgia Tech used to be a trap game. I don't think they are as much. They don't have the same skill, the same talent they used to have.
Well, they got a new coach, so they're not running the option anymore.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
We saw that. We just pulled it up. We saw Clemson playing Georgia Tech first game of the season. Yeah, that option game. It's fun. It's just fun to watch. It's different. OU almost couldn't stop it last year against Army, unfortunately. But Mike Stoops is gone. It's a new day. You got to be just cautiously optimistic.
So, who in college football poses the biggest threat to OU if they were to face in the playoff?
Are we talking? Oh, in the play. So not in the Big 12, but just overall.
Overall,
I mean, I think it's obviously Alabama and Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably throw Georgia in that mix just because Georgia, they have the defensive line, they have the offensive line to kind of control the game how they want to, and they have the quarterback. They have Jake Fromm. But outside of those three teams, I would bet money on OU over anybody. I'd probably bet money on OU over Georgia, but not Clemson or Bama. They're just on a different level. Although the one thing with Clemson, they did lose 4 guys on the defensive side of the ball to the draft. So that's kind of, I mean, they're throwing, more 5 stars in there, but, freshmen sometimes suck.
Yeah, there's a difference between a freshman and a guy who's played there 3 years. But I was trying to think the same thing, just real quick. Nobody in the Pac-12 is going to really pose a threat. No, I mean, maybe Ohio State, but, losing Urban Meyer, that's big.
Well, they got a new quarterback, too.
Yeah, but he's
supposed to be one of the next big
was a
things.
stud.
But, yeah.
But maybe Ohio State. Outside of that, I think it comes down to Clemson, comes down to Alabama. People are gonna be hyping up Texas, gonna be talking about, is Texas back again? No.
I got some words for that. We can talk about Texas later when we go over schedules.
Yeah, it'll be good, to get a rematch of last year's the Red River Shootout. I know that we got to play him again in the Big 12 championship, but there's something about winning the Cotton Bowl. Getting the golden cowboy hat, getting to celebrate with that. I think OU is gonna be really just on their grind next year, and they're not gonna mess up. They're not gonna let themselves get in a big hole. But yeah, we can talk about that later, because I think we can talk about Texas for a long time.
so you're trying to be as unbiased as possible, but what are your 4 teams that are in the college football playoff?
I think you have to start with Clemson. I think that's kind of a foregone conclusion. I mean,
Is that your number 1 or?
Yeah, I put
okay,
number one.
Okay.
Gosh, I feel like you have to throw Bama in there. But man, I really like that Georgia team. They've got a receiver that's projected to go first round in there, so they have some offensive talent. They got the defense. I don't know what Georgia's schedule looks like. I
think LSU is going to be better. They lost a few. I think they lost 4 games by less than a touchdown last year. I think LSU is going to be looking good with Coach O.
This could be a early big matchup, but Georgia and Notre Dame play each other. Notre Dame goes to Georgia.
Ooh.
It's the second of the home and home series they had. Georgia went up to Notre Dame a couple of years ago, but man, I think if Georgia can run the table, I might put them in over Bama. So we'll go with Clemson, Georgia. I'm gonna say Michigan and OU.
So OU's your fourth?
Yeah, I put OU in as my fourth because I think, there's just not a huge threat in the Big 12 to knock them off. Their biggest task is probably going to be Houston.
Yeah, I think the same. It's an easy pick, but it's Clemson, like you said, they're bringing back a quarterback, Dabo Swinney, great coach. Alabama, Nick Saban sold his soul to the devil a long time. Can we say that? Are we gonna get sued?
I don't think so, but we'll go ahead.
Allegedly sold his soul to the devil. Then I think after that, maybe Ohio State, maybe Michigan. I think probably whoever wins that game in November probably come out of there. I don't think Notre Dame, even if they go undefeated this year, everybody remembers just the drubbing that they took against Clemson. I don't think that they get another nod for at least a couple years. So I think OU, if OU goes undefeated, I think their ceiling is the 3rd seed. And then that 4th, I think Pac-12 is gonna miss out again, but I would say Clemson, Alabama, OU, and then I'm gonna stick with LSU. I think they're gonna surprise some folks. I don't think they beat Alabama, but I think that they have a chance to run it against everybody else. And if they do, especially if it's one of those brutal, we're bringing up the LSU schedule.
They played Texas this year,
and that'll be good.
I'm also going to change mine, drop Michigan and throw Bama in there. Michigan plays Army. They play at Penn State. They have Ohio State. They've got Michigan State, who's up and coming again. Army won 11 games last year, and they took it to, I forget who they played in the bowl game, where they whooped them. So I would definitely not, I don't know, I just don't think Michigan's going to be able to pull it off. So I'm going to throw Bama back in there.
Okay.
Pete, what about you?
Why don't you go back? Matt, what was your list again? Sorry. I forgot.
Clemson, Georgia, OU, and Bama.
Okay.
Not in that order. OU probably be 4. But
sorry to cut you off, Keaton. Go ahead.
Clemson, Bama, OU, so we can get that OU Bama matchup. I know if both of those teams are in, they're gonna make sure they're matched up in the first round so they don't miss out on that money. And then I don't know. I'd probably go with Georgia as well. Their schedule didn't look too rough in the 4th seed.
Okay, so how important is strength of schedule in those matchups when deciding who gets in?
I think it's everything.
It's only important for whoever's getting in the 4th seed, I think.
I think that's what's helped OU get in. Maybe not as much. Well, honestly, it may have been the deciding the last couple of years because both, we lost to Iowa State 2 years ago. We lost to Texas last year. But the fact that, our non-conference, if you look back at it, we're playing the big teams. We're beating big teams that beat other teams. I think that's been the edge that helps OU get in there. I think it's something that the committee pays attention to.
I think it's a big deal, but also I think they value wins as well. Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to see a lot of teams kind of go away from the premise of playing, kind of a top-tier Power 5 team than playing a team along the lines of, say, Duke, the Iowa States, the Washington States of the world. Because at the end of the day, those are games you can slip up and mess around and lose. So if you can, OU's playing South Dakota State this year, that's a guaranteed win. The SEC has been following that strategy for years, and it gets them 7-8 guys in the top 25, or 7-8 teams in the top 25. So I think as long as you have one marquee matchup and you can hold your own in your conference, that's kind of the way I think scheduling is going to go.
Yeah, play like Alabama does, and it's smart. Play that. Michigan first game of the season, and then in November play the Citadel, and you're good to go. It's smart. Clearly, the committee recognizes it. But as a fan, I still enjoy scheduling Ohio State, scheduling Tennessee, scheduling Nebraska, just because it's fun to see OU take it to some of the historic powerhouses. I'd love to see a series against USC. Or at least a game. I think that'd be a blast. I think we'd smoke them, but I think there's just so much history between the teams that it's something that would be good for college football.
So, before we go into OU's schedule this next season, what would you rank their, or what would you grade their schedule as, strength of schedule?
If UCLA was formidable, then I would say it's a really good schedule because Houston's a top 25 team easily. They have a guy, Derek King, in their quarterback who is kind of a dark horse candidate for the Heisman. They got a few road games that are challenging. They got to go to Stillwater for Bedlam, got to go to Manhattan for Kansas State. Those are games that are never easy, especially if you can somehow catch those games at night. Those places can be rocking, especially with Kansas State breaking in a new head coach. Who knows how that's going to be. But on a scale of 1 to 10 in degree of difficulty,
10 being the hardest?
Yeah. I'd probably give it like a 6.5.
I was gonna say I'd kind of like to revisit this after we go through the schedule, after we kind of talk about the different games. I think it's gonna be I'd say probably around a 6, maybe a 7. Also, I think our toughest games besides Texas. I think Tech's gonna be hard, but we have them at home. Iowa State's gonna be tough. Have them at home. West Virginia have them at home. I'm not as worried. Kansas State's always plays us close. I think Kansas is going to be a weird game just because Les Miles coming in. I think he's going to have that team pumped up, even though they have sucky players. You just can't, as Texas and TCU could tell you, you can't count out Kansas. But from a logical perspective, looking at the numbers, I don't think there's too much that's going to threaten us until maybe Bedlam on the road.
Honestly, the hardest conference game very well be Iowa State. Iowa State, did they end up with 10 wins last year, or did they finish with 9?
I think they had 9, but
their quarterback Brock Purdy, he's the real deal.
And they're bringing in like a 4-star running back. Like they're bringing in like some talent, which is kind of scary to be honest.
Yeah, outside of OU and OU and Texas, Iowa State had the best recruiting class in the Big 12 last year.
Really?
They're better than Texas for a while, I think. And then Texas, got their Texas push. They added Drew McCoy. They lost him. They added him back. They lost him again. The 5-star wide receiver. But do we just kind of want to just jump into looking at the schedule? Go game by game.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay.
So who's the first matchup?
First game is.
I'm guessing that is that. What's the non-conference games? Are those mixed in now?
Yeah.
Because I know they used to be the first 2, correct? And
yeah.
The first 3, and then they changed it to where it's mixed in.
No, our first 3 games are all non-conference.
Okay. Okay. So going to Houston. What do you think about that?
Keith, what are you thinking? I know that me and Matt are.
I'd say Houston's the toughest opponent on this schedule. I don't know Houston super well, but being the first game of the year at home, they're going to be pumped up. I think we win that game pretty easily.
I think I'm kind of excited for that game because I don't know if you guys remember, but they announced they're playing it Sunday night. So it's a Sunday night game.
It's at home for OU.
Yeah, it's in Norman. Mm-hmm. It's a revenge game. They beat us in Houston a few years ago. They have a good quarterback, but OU's seen plenty of good quarterbacks. They don't have an elite defensive player anymore like they used to, with Ed Oliver being gone. I think Houston's going to start out hot, but I think OU's going to settle in. The crowd's going to be behind them. The crowd's going to be excited. They're going to be rowdy after a day of tailgating. And I think that it's going to end up being a decent win for OU. That's going to look a lot better like at the end of the season.
Yeah, so I was pretty nervous until I just saw this stat. So OU's defensive efficiency rank was 113th in the country.
This is last season?
Yeah, last season. And with a top 5 draft pick in their arsenal, Houston's defensive efficiency was 127th. Whew. So they're actually worse than we were. So, I think like they mentioned, the Sunday night game, it's going to be insane. It's Labor Day weekend. People get drunk on a Sunday and still be hungover the next day and not have to go to work. A night game it's hard to win a night game in Norman. I've only seen it happen like twice in my life, maybe 3 times, but they just don't lose in Norman. They really don't lose night games.
Nope.
So I think Derek King aside, the dark horse Heisman candidate, I think OU definitely pulls that game out.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be easy win. Evan, you have any predictions on it or?
0 prediction.
Okay.
Do you want to go into score predictions or do you want to avoid that?
It's a little too early for
A
that.
little too early. Okay.
OU win by 3 touchdowns.
All right.
Would you
we'll
place
mark it
$20
down.
on that?
No, I don't have $20. We'll revisit betting odds closer to the season. So second game is South Dakota State University against OU.
We might as well just skip talking about that one.
Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, they're
100-0.
they're
Yeah, you're gonna have that attitude like OU does, and they're gonna lose.
This is an FCS team. They threatened Kansas State last year, didn't they? But I mean, we whooped Kansas State. This is just. It's gonna be. We're gonna have a couple tune-up games in a row. After the Houston game, get our defense right, get the mind right. I think that OU's gonna come out with the mindset of shut it down quickly, shut them down early, and just let the young boys play. I think it's another easy win on another night game.
How important is it to get a couple wins under your belt before the games start to ramp up?
I think just for any athlete in any sport, it's just nice to get a little momentum behind you, get some wins, you get a little swagger in your step. And plus, the first couple games of the season, you kind of get a lot of your jitters out, a lot of your nerves. I mean, it's always a little nerve-wracking walking on the court or field, wherever it is, but definitely going out and getting a couple wins gives a good momentum for the season.
Really builds your confidence, too.
I from a personal opinion, I think it really knocks off the rust. Mm-hmm. You can only do so many reps before it doesn't make it you don't care anymore. Diminishing return is and it really puts into your mind when you have to do it live in game against real life people that are trying to rip your head off. Mm-hmm. That's when it really matters. That's when those reps, the in-game reps, are so much more important than practice reps.
Yeah, just the game speed. You always hear coaches say game speed. It's just you can't replicate it till you're in the game.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead. Were you gonna?
I was gonna just go
into game 3. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, unless you have anything else you want to add, Keaton.
No.
I know that there's not much to say about South Dakota State.
Breaking news: Thunder have traded Steven Adams and guard to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sorry, I can't talk. I'm so excited. To the Cleveland Cavaliers for Kevin Love. The Cavs will also send a protected 2022 first-round pick.
Oh my God. No. Okay, let's put a pin in that. Let's circle back. I want to get through this. Oh my God.
We'll save that for the. I'm sorry, it's breaking news. Yeah. We'll save that for the next podcast. I just got jitters.
Okay, OU UCLA.
No.
OU's gonna go.
Shut up, Keaton.
OU's gonna go to Los Angeles. They're gonna just beat the pants off UCLA. It's gonna be worse. UCLA's only good player last season was like a 6'8" tight end. He's gone. The UCLA players hate Chip Kelly.
They got a good quarterback that was hurt most of the season last year, but he's pretty solid.
I think team chemistry is bad. I think that's gonna have a lot to do with it. I think OU's gonna. I think the defense is gonna be looking solid. After South Dakota, I think that OU once again has a chance to roll in.
I apologize. I just got faked by a fake account. Yeah. Man, screw these guys.
Oh, that's funny.
You saw your first, folks.
We're gonna have to clip that part.
Does Russell Westbrook show up to that game against UCLA?
I think so.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
Is it at home? Is it at Norman?
It's at UCLA.
Okay, so he just as good a chance, I guess.
He showed up last season. This is even before the preseason stuff starts for the NBA. So I think that. So
he'll be out there probably.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it's another. I think it's another comfortable one for OU. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, easy win.
It's only slightly harder than South Dakota State. I think it's a joke. They're going to walk in, kill him, and walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Good reps for a second unit, I guess. Okay, so what was it? That was game 3. Game 4?
So far, OU 3-0. Should be. We should come out as a top 6, a top 5 team, and we should be established there.
If OU's not 3-0, we have very major issues.
Oh yeah. So next game is the first. It's another home game. It's the first Big 12 game. It's a matchup against Texas Tech. This is going to be OU's first test as a defense, I think. Texas Tech. I think they're going to be. I mean, you have a new head coach, but Texas Tech always scores an OU.
Yeah, they got the quarterback Alan Bowman too. I mean,
Mhm.
before he got hurt last year, he was just lighting us up, and I think OU may have lost that game if that guy wouldn't have got hurt.
Yeah, it was a good break for us. It was a good thing he was already kind of dinged up. I think the nod that I think gives OU is it's a game in Norman again, and I think that might be the difference maker. I think this can be a close game. I don't think it's going to be as much of a shootout. It's not going to be the 70-63 game that we've seen in the past, but I could see if OU, I think OU needs to play perfect on offense. You turn the ball over more than a couple times, and that might be the game right there. But I think OU wins it. I think it's gonna be close.
I mean, like I said in the beginning, I don't follow college football very much, but Texas Tech has always been known for putting up points with those really large splits in between their linemen. So
I just think the biggest thing is losing Cliff Kingsbury, who got fired and then hired by the Cardinals, which is still bizarre to me. Just failing upwards, but more power to him. Go.
good payday.
Follow the
Show
money.
off. Yeah.
Okay, so
I think.
you think that's a W?
Mm-hmm.
High scoring game,
Yeah. Decent. Like
30s.
mid 40s to mid 30s, I'd say.
Okay. Next game.
Or what do you have?
Yeah, Matt. Did you want to say anything about that?
Keaton?
Sorry.
No,
I got ahead of
I mean,
myself.
I agree. I think that's gonna be one of the first games you really see turnovers become a factor. I think by that time in the season, the defense will be a little more settled in. They'll kind of have a better understanding of their roles in themselves. I think you'll probably see 2 turnovers that game, maybe a pick 6.
I'd love to see a pick 6. It's been too long. It doesn't matter how long it's been. It's still been too long. Next is Oklahoma, Kansas. Matt, you got? I think that's gonna be a trap game. Honestly.
Yeah, that's just gonna be a weird game. Let me see what Kansas' schedules is.
Yeah.
Because if they can pull off, say, 2 or 3 wins before that, then oh yeah, it's definitely formidable. They have Indiana State, Coastal Carolina, Boston College, who just lost 2 defensive linemen to the draft. They got West Virginia and TCU all before OU. So if Les Miles can go in there and turn the culture around, make it a winning culture, they could easily be,
I think they could have at least
2, 3 wins.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they beat West Virginia. I don't
No.
think they beat TCU. Maybe, but should beat Indiana State. Should beat Coastal. Maybe Boston College. I don't know. I don't know how good Boston College is going to be next year.
Maybe steal another game, and
But-
they'll have some real confidence after.
Yeah, for sure.
That's more wins than they probably won the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
Combined, probably.
And the thing is, with Kansas one week, then Texas the next week, that's going to be a game that OU's going to have to just come in focused. They're going to have their mind right. They can't get caught looking ahead, otherwise they lose. That said, Kansas is Kansas. We're going to beat them by 50.
That's going to be a trap game. I think that's just one of those games they're going to go in with the mindset, oh, it's just little old Kansas. And they're going to come out, probably punch us in the face first, but I have confidence that OU will punch back and knock them out in the 3rd round, throw the backups in by the 4th quarter.
I agree. Nothing else.
it sounds like the first almost half the season is pretty easy.
I think
Is Texas game 7?
Texas game 6.
Game
So
6.
that's
Okay.
what we're on
So mid-season you got Texas,
I
obviously
hate
in the
these
Cotton
guys.
Bowl.
now.
Texas is not back. Yeah, I know they beat Georgia, but they're not going to be that good this year. They lost 2 starting offensive linemen. They lost 9 of their starters on defense. One of their guys returning is one of their safeties, Caden Stearns. He's freaking good. But you can't tell me that a team that loses 9 starters on defense is going to go out and even stop an offense like OU's. By that point, we'll have Jalen Hurts more comfortable in the offense. He'll have 6 games under his belt. I think this is going to be one of the widest margins of win OU has in the Red River in the past few years.
Yeah, I think. Keith, you want to go?
I don't have quite as much input as you guys on this. I don't know Texas
I
very
think.
well. I think we come back this is a vengeance game and we get it back.
See ya.
Yeah.
15-yard penalty.
Sam. I still don't know how to say his last name. Ellinger.
It's a hard G. Ellinger.
Doesn't matter. I think his face is gonna be in the turf this all game. I think he's gonna be getting hit. He's gonna be pressured. I think that he throws a couple picks. He has good games. He has bad games. I think this is gonna be a bad game for him. OU's gonna be pissed after losing. I mean, yeah, after losing the Cotton Bowl last year, I think they're gonna be focused. OU after losing to Texas, always. I think it's the last 10 or 11 seasons they haven't lost 2 in a row to Texas. That's gonna stay this year. That's not gonna be a new, or they're not gonna break the trend. I think OU. I'm with Matt. Come out angry, but come out strong, and I think they're just gonna they're gonna put a hurt on Texas, and it's deserved. And I think this is gonna be a statement victory for OU. So that next after that, we got West Virginia coming to Norman. Another new quarterback or another new coach.
They've got Austin Kendall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the return of Austin Kendall.
Honestly, I think this could be like a dangerous game for OU. I think Austin Kendall is going to be slinging out there.
Yeah.
This is his vengeance game, so to speak.
I could see him really helping, the defense to be prepared. I think he's going to have him ready, but it's going to come down, if OU plays a decently perfect game, I don't think West Virginia has as many of the playmakers on offense as they've had in the past. They haven't beat us since they joined the Big 12. I don't see that changing again this year.
Well, West Virginia's had 3 defensive backs enter their transfer portal this offseason. All guys with, I think a couple of them had starting experience. The other one was kind of a rotation player that would fill in here and there. But I don't know. Don't sleep on Austin Kendall. A lot of people don't realize this, but he was actually a higher rated quarterback coming out of high school than Jalen Hurts was. It just so happened he got sat behind 2 of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play college football. But I can see Austin Kendall come in there wanting to make a statement early on, maybe trying to overthrow a pass, and hopefully that new speed D that OU's putting out there will get a turnover. But I think OU ultimately win this one, but I think it's going to be more of a shootout than anything.
I just can't wait to see some quarterbacks get hit. Other quarterbacks, not ours. After that is Kansas State. Who's Kansas State's new head coach?
It's the old North Dakota State head coach, the guy that won like 4 straight titles up there.
Yeah, okay. Kansas State is Kansas State. They haven't had a good, a star offensive player since my boy Tyler Lockett graduated.
Screw that guy.
They're not gonna have that same, just grit. They're not gonna have that same drive that comes from that they've had in the past. I think this can be an easy win. We struggled against them last year. They kept it close, but I think this is another one OU comes in focused because of what happened last year. Wins comfortably. And I know I sound like a big homer, but there's not been it's an easier schedule this season than it's been in the past.
Well, it sounds like a lot of the key games are at home.
Yeah.
They looked out that way for sure.
So who's after Kansas State, or is that?
After Kansas State is Iowa State.
That's probably our hardest game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I think that's probably is the hardest game. Brock Purdy, the quarterback, he actually Alabama made a really hard push for him the last couple of weeks of recruiting cycle a few years ago. They found him late out of Arizona, and they tried to get him a foot from Iowa State, but Iowa State was one of the first schools that offered him, and he stuck his commitment with them. But if they can, they lost, what's his name, the receiver they had.
That other guy who's like 6'8", that big tall one.
Yeah, he just killed us.
Yeah,
They lost him, they lost Montgomery, so, that'll be kind of difficult to come back from, but that quarterback's a gunslinger. He can play. So I think this is going to be one of the hardest games of the year, but, hopefully it's in Norman. That helps a lot. Hopefully it's a night game. Hopefully Iowa State's finally beat Iowa by then. And go out there and get a W.
Everybody remembers, Iowa State, it's possible for them to win in Norman. They did a couple years ago, which is still just disgusting to me. But
That was the last time I cried, actually.
that's funny. Last time I cried was when we traded Steven Adams. But no, but I think this is probably gonna be the hardest or the second hardest game of the season. I think OU's gonna have to bring it. I think it's gonna be an ugly game. It's gonna be a low scoring game, but I think OU just has more playmakers and more experienced players, and I think that leadership is gonna give us the edge. And I mean, especially if we fall behind early, if we just have a slow start, I don't think anything's gonna rattle Jalen Hurts this season, and it's definitely not gonna be Iowa State.
So moving on, next we got Baylor. Baylor's an interesting matchup. Last year they had Matt Rule's first year as a head coach from was it Troy? He came from no, he came from Temple, and so what makes it interesting is he tried to come in, run the power formation. About halfway through the year, he started running a spread. He came out in a press conference saying that you just can't run a power formation in this league. You're going to get lit up. And so I'll be interested to see how the second year of that goes. Charlie Brewer, their quarterback, he's good. He is a really good, underrated quarterback. Outside of, Ellinger, Purdy, and Jalen Hurts, he's probably the fourth best quarterback along with Austin Kendall in the league. So, oh gosh, and there's so many good quarterbacks in this league. But I think it's definitely it's not a cupcake game by any means. It's one I think OU might struggle with early, but in the end, it's about the Jimmies and Joes. So I think just the talent will lead OU to victory then.
Yeah, I don't think Baylor. I mean, good offense like they've had this decade in the last 10 years, but the defense is, I don't think the defense is anything to write home about. I don't think the defense is gonna really get in Jalen Hurts' face. I think this is honestly gonna be, I don't want to say another tune-up game, but I think this is gonna be one where we get up early, we rest the starters, and once again we let the younger guys play. Also want to break in and say Lincoln Riley just tweeted at the eye emoji again about a minute ago.
Ooh.
And then after that he tweeted, "Here we go." So yeah, things get exciting. Like I said, that eye emoji, the double eye emoji, it kind of gets me going at this point. So it's
I like how the NBA players started using it recently. I don't know if you noticed that.
I saw that.
They just love to tweet out emojis just to mess with the fans at this point. I do that all the time. I mean, Blake Griffin did that. He said that on purpose. They planned it. Okay, so after OU at Baylor, we have TCU at home. I think that's gonna. I mean, TCU always plays hard. I think that's gonna be another one, a low scoring. I mean, I think for me, honestly, when I say low scoring, 32, 35 points for OU, but I still think we beat TCU by 10 points. I think that Lincoln Riley's smart enough. He understands Gary Patterson. He knows how to counteract what the defense is going to bring. And, I mean, this comes down to we have the best players in the league again, and I think that gives us the edge. But I think that we're going to have to come in and be focused because TCU's going to be ready to play like they always are. And Gary Patterson's going to be ready to sweat through his shirt like he always does. So it's going to be one. I think it's going to be another, probably top 3 game this season.
I could not disagree more. They have Jalen Reagor, who's a good receiver. I think they may still have Kevontae Turpin, but they don't have a quarterback. They had what's his name, Sean Robinson. He transferred to Missouri along with Kelly Bryant. So I mean, they just unless TCU can show they have a quarterback to throw the ball around, then it's going to be a blowout game. It's in Norman. It's not on the road or anything. OU handled them last year pretty easily. I think that's just one of the easier games on the schedule.
Keith, is it going to be a blowout or is it going to be a closer game? You're the deciding vote.
It's going to be a blowout.
My man.
He doesn't know anything, so no.
I mean, last game of the regular season, OU, Oklahoma State. I think we're going to play them, and then I think we're going to play them again the next week in the Big 12 Championship. Oklahoma State loses Taylor Cornelius, their best, their quarterback. Mike Gundy still there. Actually, hold on, before we get into it, Evan, what do you think as an Oklahoma State fan? What's your thoughts about the team and the game?
First time they win Bedlam in years.
Yeah. In football?
I mean, statistically speaking, they should be due for a win pretty quick here. So
You're right. And then they're going to play them again in the Big 12 championship, and they're going to win 2 in a row.
Oh, man.
First time ever.
First time ever.
If that happens, I'll give you $100.
Well, if it doesn't happen, then you still owe me $100.
Yeah. Oh, never mind that. But
I mean, they did lose their starting quarterback. I mean,
what are they looking like at quarterback this season? Have you heard much? I mean, have you been paying much
0.
attention?
I've heard 0.
Yeah.
My OSU antennas are not picking up anything because I haven't been paying attention.
I wouldn't pay attention either.
Wow.
Yeah.
Roast
Trash talked
him.
him in his own podcast
Yeah, yeah. I think you should get out of my house. I mean, I haven't been paying attention, but I think they're going to have a lot of underrated players, as they always do. I mean, they bring in a lot of guys that nobody's really ever heard of.
Mhm.
What's the running back's name?
Exactly.
Chuba Hubbard, is that his name?
I have no idea.
Chubba?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I Chubba's fun to say.
They bring in a lot of underrated guys, 3-star guys that nobody really paid attention to, and Gundy gets into play. That's what it is every year.
Mhm.
But they always find a way to lose to OU, so this year we'll be really hoping for it.
I think something that OSU does well, I hate to compliment them, but something they do well is they get a lot of the underrated, like, Oklahoma Preps players, the high school players that don't quite make it onto OU's radar, don't quite make it onto, like the Blue Bloods, but then they get guys in, they get them to play. And I think that's just a testament to Mike Gundy's coaching. But I think their biggest players, that wide receiver they have,
They've got Tylan Wallace still. They lost
Yeah.
Tyron Johnson though.
yeah, but I think I've seen more people talking about Wallace than talking about CeeDee Lamb.
Well, Wallace, didn't he just lose out on best wide receiver of the year last year?
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty close.
I think it was Jerry Jeudy, then Tylan Wallace, then Marquise Brown after that. I think it
So-
was the final 3.
So he just lost out on. I'm sure he's going to have a chip on his shoulder and
Oh, yeah, for
and,
sure.
and try to go out and dominate. But from the quarterback position, I mean, who's going to be throwing to him?
Well-
Because I mean, he's not going to have a ton of. From what I see, not a ton of talent.
So they got a guy named Spencer Sanders. He redshirted freshman last year. Mike Gundy came out and said before last year even started that they weren't gonna use him last year. They wanted to give him a year to develop in the program and kind of get some more fundamentals down, just make him just ready when he gets thrown out in the fire. He everything I've heard is the guy's a baller. I mean, I think he won a state championship in Texas, and anyone who really follows football know that you can't be a quarterback on a state championship team in Texas and be all that bad.
Yeah.
So
So I take back what I said.
yeah, I wouldn't be worried about, as an OSU fan, I wouldn't be worried about the quarterback situation. He's going to be young. He's going to be a freshman. And, freshmen make freshman mistakes, and especially that'd be the biggest game of the year. They start off at Oregon State, which I don't know how much people follow college football, but Oregon State is up there with Kansas level of bad. Kansas and Rutgers, I mean, they are just terrible. They play McNeese State and Tulsa as their non-conference, and it's just they've got a very winnable schedule, so they could have 8-9 wins going into that game, and it might be a pretty interesting matchup. But ultimately, I think OU pulls it out just from experience alone.
I want to give my dad a shout out. He just texted me that Steven Adams is traded for Kevin Love. Dad, it's a fake tweet. You gotta read the @ So you're not the only guy who got because he just texted me, y'all.
Check that blue check
All
mark.
up in arms about it.
I feel better now.
Who was the account?
This is actually an OU football account called Red Dirt Sports.
Yikes!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I followed him for I think ever since I've had a Twitter.
Yeah, you need to
Land these
unfollow him
days.
now.
Oh yeah.
You need to unfollow him now.
Honestly.
Yeah, if that guy.
He do.
Yeah, I think OU has the talent, has the drive, has the coaching, and hopefully this year will have the defense to go through perfect. And I think there's no reason to believe that they wouldn't beat Texas again. They wouldn't beat Iowa. Probably not Iowa State. Shouldn't lose to Oklahoma State again in a Big 12 championship game. I think it comes down to, or are we going to be able to hang with the big boys again? Can we play with the Clemsons? Can we play with Alabama? Can we play with Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Michigan, whoever we see in that 2, 3, 4 spot. I think it's gonna be a fun season, and it's just gonna come down to what happens in the college football playoffs.
Another 4th place finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the ceiling is, first round exit out of the playoffs.
Yep.
But honestly, if you really think about the trajectory of the program, it's kind of a stopgap year. I mean, you bring in one of the most well-known quarterbacks in Alabama history to play 1 year at OU. He's playing with 3 5-star receivers, a brand new offensive line, and you get to teach a 5-star quarterback behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I had to bet OU to win a national championship in the next 5 years, I would take that bet. Because realistically, Clemson's losing their quarterback, not this next year, but the next. Bama's losing Tua, although Tua's little brother is going to be there. But I don't know. I just think the way OU, a big issue with their recruiting has been they've recruited from multiple schemes to try to get certain guys for certain things to be short and fast, other guys to be long and slow, defensive backs, and now they have a sense of what would be the word, like
they're focused. They're not.
They have like a specific thing to recruit for, and they're not getting guys that are kind of in betweeners. Like they know what they're gonna have an identity. That's the word I was looking for.
They're honed in.
Yeah, and so, I mean, gosh, they're winning defensive line battles over schools like Georgia and Bama and LSU. They've won a couple battles recently with guys like that, and I think by the time all these guys who are coming in freshmen now, by the time they're juniors, I bet that's the year they win a championship.
And I want to say, even though, like I said, it will be, OU fans talk about, we're probably going to, lose first round of playoffs again. Still great. Still going to be back to back to back to back to back Big 12 champions, most likely. 5 straight. I don't know if that's been done before.
4 hadn't been done before.
So it's just it's gonna be a fun season. It's gonna be a good season. My blood pressure is probably gonna be through the roof. Probably gonna make a fool of myself watching these games again. But I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a good one, a good season. I mean.
Any closing thoughts other than that?
I kind of want to. We talked about
hot takes.
Power ranking the conferences. Do you want to just kind of go? I mean, I'll give mine real quick because that just came up immediately. SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, Pac-12. Pac-12 stinks. Only reason, I mean, ACC stinks too, but they have the best team in the nation, so that gives you a bump. Big 12, middle of the road teams. OU raises it up. I think Big 10 is going to be big, slow, boring, but talented. And then the SEC is still the SEC until further notice.
Yeah, I think I agree with Mekko. I think Big 12 and ACC are a toss-up. But for overall depth, I'd give the Big 12 a nod just because, I mean, gosh, the second best team in the conference for the ACC is, Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Their quarterback just got kicked off the team, too, Josh Jackson. He's not there anymore. Miami's breaking in a new coach. Florida State, Lord knows what they're doing down there. They can't even put offensive line together. So
shameful to see.
I mean, if you could argue depth-wise, the ACC may be worse than the Pac-12, but like you said, the ACC also has the best team in the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
But Big Ten's got some solid teams. Nebraska's getting better. You have Michigan, Ohio State. You've got Penn State, Michigan State, even Northwestern's made some noise the last few years. Iowa, but then SEC is the SEC. I hate the SEC with a passion, but they can play some football.
Keaton, did you have any closing thoughts?
Just my hot take that we're gonna have 2 Heisman finalists this year, and CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Hurts.
Don't forget Kennedy Brooks.
So 3.
I love Kennedy Brooks. Yeah, so we're gonna have all the
All
Heisman
four,
finalists,
all
and then Tua, he'll make an appearance.
Any shout-outs? I know you already shouted out your dad, Mekko, but
I want to give a shout out to Andrew Biggers, the guy who put me in the game originally. I'm sure he'll tune in and watch this. He's an OU boy, and he's a supporter. So that's my only shout outs.
Matt, any closing thoughts or shout-outs?
Shout out to work for giving me vacation days so I don't have to go in tomorrow. So
That's nice.
yeah, that's about it.
Shout out to my work for making me work tomorrow. So, all right,
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, of course.
I think we can do another college college football preview, getting closer to when the season starts, when, we see more depth charts emerge and we see more stuff get established. And then we can make, more predictions for like other conferences, Heisman, other awards, and just, sometime in August we get back to it. So
Heck
look out
no.
for us. And then we'll talk about science too. We'll do a football and science podcast.
We'll talk about the physics.
Revolutionary.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been Simply Technically. Thanks for tuning in, guys.